patriotism, and I really like this graphics here because it looks like well, never mind. Um, I was hoping to have fun with this and, to try to be a little entertaining or something, but I'm really a beginner at this and I find it very hard. So let me just try to do this in a dry fashion. So I want to talk about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights specifically. But real quick, I want to touch on what this blog is about, the myth of patriotism. And, it's pretty obvious to me. It should be obvious to you as well. If that sounds haughty, then so be it. But, nation states are mythologies. They are not, they do not exist outside of an organization. And every organization, including the nation state, operates within a set of rules. Now, when those rules bend and break, that's when you get corruption. And, well, but going back to mythology, the myths of the nation state can be the trivial ones. The many myths of a nation are particular. They are very particular. And they're corny. And they're tiresome over time. So Uncle Sam is a great example of that. They're like paper puppets that are reused generation after generation until they become fragile and faded and show the signs of inevitable decline and breakdown. So that's kind of where we're at now with our iconology, or the images that roused people in past days no longer function. But that's just kind of the cartoonish aspect of patriotism. There's deeper aspects of it, like ideas and legends, or ideals and legends, and archetypes. And the essential one for the United States is, and I mean this is an essential myth, that without this myth, it's a fatherland myth, but it's that the United States is arguably, without a doubt, a free country. And while some other countries might also be considered free, the United States is uniquely free. So that really doesn't mean anything. But, and of course it is quite possible for freedom to exist in the United States. And there's no contradiction with that. But to say that this nation was founded upon freedom is absolutely a myth. And I would like to have an organization that requires freedom to function. And that's not what the United States is. It's, it's been said that the United States is founded upon freedom, but that's not true. The United States was founded upon aversion to taxation, or a new kind of taxation. In other words, wealth and property. That's what the United States is founded upon, not freedom. It's a myth, it's a lie, or it's a god. I don't know, however you want to put it. It's kind of a sacred thing. I call it a pagan charm, but whatever, however you look at it. So going on to the Constitution here, I think we can, I don't know where to start here, go down. I want to talk about the Bill of Rights specifically. So let's go down to here and then go back up. So the Bill of Rights, when you think of the American Constitution, if you think of the Bill of Rights, you're thinking wrongly, very wrongly. The Bill of Rights is mainly an addendum to the Constitution, and its purpose is nefarious. It's nefarious in the sense that it's trickery, and so let's look at the sentence that I constructed here. When you think of the Constitution, the first thing that comes to your mind is the Bill of Rights. Be aware that the creators of the addendum were successful in a purpose that was nefarious to the document's outward nobility. So, in other words, when you look at the Bill of Rights at face value, it looks like a noble undertaking, that was highly advanced and evolved, was the first in an exercise and an experiment in human individuality and liberty. And it's just not true, because all of the things that are in the Bill of Rights, which are quite good actually, are borrowed, are just taken from the Magna Carta and I lost my place here, but they're just pieces of things that had already existed in the Enlightenment of Europe. So they were just adopted straight out. They weren't thought of originally, And that doesn't mean that that's bad or anything like that. But we have to get to what, really the purpose of the Bill of Rights was. And I would say that we could go to Shays' Rebellion, and let's just look at that real quick. Oh, sorry. I should have had this out, but didn't. And so Shays' Rebellion was an armed uprising in Massachusetts that was in opposition to a debt crisis. Now, this occurred before the Bill of Rights, and it was very frightening to the property owners and the ruling class of the time. So they were quite alarmed that the country that they had just forged would come under attack by the common people. So the Bill of Rights was a response to that. And the Bill of Rights placates and lulls the public with lofty promises, but without forcing the government to uphold them. That's the really important part about the Bill of Rights, is nowhere in the Bill of Rights does it hold government accountable to protect those rights. So, in other words, the Bill of Rights was written for the class that created it, not for the common people. The aristocrats were afraid of common rebels, and so hoped that the landless would think the privileges were meant for them as well. But the thing is, this is the part that you got to understand, is that the privileges in the Bill of Rights were not for the landless, although they hoped that the landless would think they were. They were for the landowners And the well, let's go into that. So let's go back up to here. Like who wrote this, and for what purpose? And so the Constitution was written first of all without significant provisions or laws that would constrict or regulate banks, cash, corporations, financial arrangements, foreign trade, or charters. I think there's a little bit in the Constitution regarding that, but not much. So that makes sense as it was drafted by landowners. And this is important, capitalist financiers. Because these are the people, of course, the landowners are going to have power, but more importantly, the capitalist financiers, these are the bankers. And these are the people who, down the road, are going to build empire. And people have this mistaken idea that American empire started with Teddy Roosevelt in the very late 1800s, almost the turn of the century. But what we had was a domestic imperial drive and manifest destiny, the Monroe Doctrine, and all that. So that was already going on. There was an internal imperialistic move that to rule over the continent, coast to coast, control all of its resources, and become a great, mighty power. Now, you might have heard George Washington saying, "Oh, we should never become an empire," but America, from the very beginnings, was driving onwards towards expansion, which is what empire is. So we've been an empire all along. So they did not want any. They wrote this Constitution with leaving all this out, any kind of provisions for laws having to do with banks and such, because they would not, of course, have wanted any conditions imposed upon the financial freedom and powers that they had already established through revolution. So, these people like Jefferson and I don't know about Adams, but I think he's kind of an anomaly. But certainly Washington, Jefferson, and those people, and then Hamilton as the banker, the financier, and Washington, Jefferson as the landowners, the slaveholders, and all that. Classic empire type activities, right? They're the ones that would not, of course, wanted any conditions imposed upon their financial freedom. And what I meant to say is that they were already powerful before the revolution, kind of as English subjects, I suppose. Maybe they were citizens, I don't know. But the revolution gave them even more power. Gave them, finally they got sovereign power. So they could, I wouldn't say the revolution was necessarily a land grab, but it did ensure a safe territory for them, and a safe story for the exchange of land, goods, and labor. And we do have to mention that labor in those days was mostly indentured slave labor, drawn from the landless American peasantry. They don't teach you that in school, the American peasantry, the landless American peasantry. This existed. These people were slaves. And of course, in addition to the outright chattel, disgusting slave labor that we're all sickened by. And yet, are supposed to worship the people who practiced it. So, in any case, in the 1790s, which people don't realize, very few Americans were actually free. So, there we go with the Bill of Rights. They weren't free. They were in debt. They fought for these rich people. They died for them. And at the end, they were in debt and could barely survive. So they had an uprising, and they, just like they do today, they throw them a bone, throw them some crumbs, try to, to console, console the uprising, and console the masses rather, and calm the uprising. So nothing has really changed that much. So where to go from here? Well, I got two more things real quick. The federal constitution is mostly a charter for international business profiteering. It protects investment, trade, and its defense provisions. I don't know what I did here. Whoops, messed up there. Well, anyway, our defense protects our right to impose empire on other nations, and it's always been like that, whether it was within the continental United States or in other parts of the world. Down quickly, at least the parties are, and good riddance to the Democratic Party. Anyway, conclusion, what to do about this. Get enlightened about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, what it was really designed for. How does it operate today? Have there been positive changes, positive things that have happened under the Bill of Rights? I think yes. It's not all a wash, but still consider what's happening today. Consider, like, for example, in the nation of freedom, with its essential myth of freedom, that we have more incarcerated human beings than any other country in the world, including China. That's just obscene, and it's as obscene as having Trump as president is obscene. So we have a big challenge ahead of us, and good luck to all of us. I'm willing to work with anyone, happy to, and I love the people. I am of the working class. If you're in the working class, you are my friend. So, until next time.